Hello folks, good evening. Hello. Hi Navya, hi Sanki, hi Adarsh, hi, yeah. Hello everyone, hello, welcome to another session. Hi Kriti, hi, very good evening. Nice to see you here, just getting started. So thank you everyone for coming in. So it is 4:30 p.m. Here in India, so let us begin. Everyone who has come in, thank you so much for joining. So as always, I would like to start by explaining what we do here. This is Bari Basic. What I try to do is I try to teach you the basics of programming. That is what I try to do. And now in that case, now the question is, what is basic? What does it mean to be a basic web app developer? Now that is what I would like to show. In every class I do this, so I'm going to do this class also. So first thing is, I would request all of you to go ahead and visit our website, baribasic.com, and once you go there, you will be able to, we go to our tutorial, our textbook, which is this. Okay, so once you go to a textbook, you go to our web tutorial section. And in our web tutorial section, we have something called as a fully built demo. Okay, now this is what I like to call a basic web app developer. So if you are able to build an app like this, now this is an app which has some responsive design features, which means that depending on your screen, the web page, the web app will change. So if you're seeing this website on a desktop, it look differently. If you're seeing it on a mobile phone, it look differently. So that is called responsive web design, and it has some basic navigation, like you can go from one page to another, and it can talk to an API server. Okay, and it can collect JSON data, and it can send JSON data, and also it can register for new accounts, and using that account it can make authentication calls by collecting the token using the against the API endpoint. Now if you are in a position to do these things, if you are in a position to do all these things I just spoke about, if you can build a website like this, that means you are already beyond a web app developer. Now if you are not able to build something like that, then yes, this is where you come in. That's what we are trying to teach you. We are going to try to teach you how to become a basic web app developer. That is what we are trying to do here. So this is the session number 8. Okay, so those of you who are not able to come to our classes before, we do have a YouTube channel. As always, you just have to go to our textbook again. If you go to our textbook, you will find out where is our live classes. Yeah, there you go. So if you go to our section called as live classes and video recordings, you will have a link for YouTube. So we have our YouTube channel. If you go to our YouTube channel, then you will be able to go to playlists, and in playlists we have all our old classes. Yeah, there you go. Here, so we have put all our old classes here, so all the 7 classes before today. So if you're just joining in, then you can watch all the old classes. They are recording of these live classes. So what I do is I go ahead and do the live classes Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. The timings are on the screen, and after the class is over, I put a recording on my YouTube channel 24 hours later. So that is how, if you are just joining today, please join in, please follow our Twitch channel, and of course follow on our Instagram channel as well. So the Instagram channel is it's available on our website. If you just go there, you can go to Instagram channel, or you can just search for Bari Basic on Instagram and you will find our channel, which is easy. You can chat with me there on Insta also. You can send messages, you can like our videos, and we do put up notifications and so on and so forth. Yes, thank you Kriti, thank you so much. You're welcome. You're definitely welcome. So you can either follow us on Instagram, you can follow us on Twitch. It's better if you follow on both. And of course we have a YouTube channel. Please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is called Jazz Gaming and Podcast channel. That is my YouTube channel. In the YouTube channel, I'm putting all the recordings of the old classes. So if you missed the live classes, then you can watch it. And another problem is many PA students, especially from India, they have told me that because Twitch is not in India, like kind of the video quality is not, it keeps buffering a lot. So You can hear in the live classes, you can listen to me, and you can chat and ask questions and so on. But YouTube, once the recording is uploaded, usually I upload the recording in 24 hours after one day, right? If today 4 o'clock class will be uploaded tomorrow. So that is how you can see the old classes. So thank you again for joining. That is our introduction. So now let's jump into today's topic. And today's topic is CSS. I want to go ahead and do a simple, let me just get a slide here. So please make a note of these things. It's session number 8, website and Twitch account. I'll put the Instagram link here, but it's easy. Just go to Instagram and search for Bari Basic, which is BARI and that is our Instagram account. Please follow it. Ask your friends to follow, because we are doing it every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's totally free, no ads, nothing. So you can just focus on learning. So let's go ahead and create a slide here. So today what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do CSS Basic. Okay, and I'll also be talking a little bit about Bootstrap Basics, because for me CSS and Bootstrap, they're kind of the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of talk about both of them at the same time. Now, as always, in every whatever chapter I'm talking to you, there is a chapter on our textbook also. So if you are the kind of person who likes to read, then please go to our tutorial textbook. It's like a textbook, like a digital textbook. You can read about it here. And there you go. Here you have a chapter. So right now we are here. We finished all these things, in the last 7 classes. So now we are in basic CSS. That is where we are here. So this is our basic CSS chapter. Now today is going to be a little bit of theory. Normally what I do is, my idea here is to teach you only the basics. So as much as possible, I want to spend a lot of time talking about the basics, and only after I spend all the time on the essentials, I actually start the coding. So it's going to be like 50% theory. Yes, I'm sorry about that, but this is the beginning. We're just in the beginning phase. At the end of every topic, I do a full-on mini project, which is all coding. But before we get to that, we need to get some essentials. So today I'm going to spend some time talking about the very much basics here. Now, one thing is, I want to spend some time talking about CSS. Okay. Now, when you're learning web programming, there are many websites out there. Now, 2 websites I recommend is the Mozilla MDN website. Okay. If you go to Mozilla MDN, this is where I also get a lot of information. In fact, this tutorial uses a lot of material which is available from Mozilla, Learn Web. This is the one which I really like. Okay. And along with this, another website which I like, a lot of people don't like it, but I like, is Double3 Schools, because we are like to learn basics. These are the 2 websites I like to listen. Now the thing is, if you, on the left side, you have an option called Learn CSS. And if you go to Learn CSS, you'll see that there are a lot of things here. Look at that. It's a very, very, very long list, a very lengthy list of topics in CSS. So, does it mean, the question which I get asked a lot, especially when I was doing, before this virus was there, I did a lot. I've been teaching for 8 years, corporate training, college training, online training for students in America, UK, and all that. So I have done all kind of training, and a lot of times, what happens here is, do you have to learn all these things? Now that is what I want to talk about here, and what I want to say is, you don't really have to. Okay, I have what is called as, in my life, these classes are like an extension of what I do with my development life. I've been working as a professional for 8 years. Okay, so and most of my clients, they are from the Western world, and I've been living a full-time freelancer software developer life for 7 years. So somehow I'm able to have a career working as a software developer. So this is all based on my knowledge of 8 years. So I have this belief, it's called the 80 and 20 rule. Okay. Now what this rule says, and this is something which I believed in from a young age, and I know it has worked because my career is somehow still going on after 8 years, is you can do 80% of the work. Okay. So if you have a project, and you can do 80% of the work by knowing the essential 20% knowledge. Okay, now this is not to say that you don't need to learn the remaining 80%. Yes, you have to learn everything. That's really up to you. But in my development style, my coding style, my teaching style is, I know this core essential 20%, and using that 20% only throughout my life, I've been able to do 80% of my projects. And the remaining 20%, yes, of course I do it, otherwise I'll not get paid. But what I'm trying to say is, right now we are trying to learn the basics. So my logic is, in CSS there are a lot of things. I'm not gonna touch majority of them. In fact, I'll only show you very few little topics of CSS, and then I will immediately jump to Bootstrap. Okay, in fact, so because I've seen a lot of in general, yes, you'll have to spend a lot of time learning CSS, but for me, CSS is something, in fact, I've written it in detail here. I've given some personal points here. I just don't like to get involved in CSS because it is very complex. Okay, so if you're learning HTML, yes, go ahead, spend all the time in the world to study CSS, learn about every little topic, every little value. Nothing wrong with it. I will not stop you. Nobody should stop you from doing the way you want. But my logic is, my focus is on building my project. So I don't want to spend the entire day focusing on trying to get some image exactly in the center. Okay, I don't want to waste my time on writing CSS doing just that. I see that Kriti and Manideep, Meena are agreeing with me. So thank you so much, students. Thank you for agreeing with me on that. So my idea is, I want to put that image in the center, and I don't want to waste half a day to make that happen. So the solution, what is the solution? The solution is, luckily for people like us and students like you and developers like us, there is something called Bootstrap. Okay, there is something called Bootstrap, which is a CSS open source free library. Now you know about Bootstrap, you heard about Bootstrap, it is from Twitter. I don't know if you guys know it, but Bootstrap is actually created by Twitter very long time ago. It has been there for so long. It is the most popular CSS library in the world. Okay, so what I do here is, now you see here my website. I told you in the beginning, the basic website. Now where did that go? Where is my basic website? One second. So if I go to my basic web app here, this is Bootstrap. This is Bootstrap doing all the work. Okay, this is Bootstrap doing all the work. So it looks good, it looks nice. I did not have to spend too much time learning CSS to get what I wanted. Okay, so yes, so since we are focusing on the basics only, so I'm going to teach you, mainly I'm going to teach you how to use Bootstrap and a little bit of CSS to get the output which you're seeing on the screen. Now after learning this basic, you want to go and learn the advanced thing, yes, go ahead and do that. But in my training, in my projects, I'm not going to spend that much time with that. So there you go. Now some people may not like this. In fact, a lot of people will not like this. They would say that, okay, I have to spend as much as possible time on learning everything about CSS, everything about every comma, every value. It is true, if you learn it, it's really good. It'll make you like a top-notch developer, but I will not be doing that here. Hi Bharat, hi, welcome to the class. Thank you for joining. So yeah, there you go. I just wanted to say that. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time on CSS probably, but I will spend a little bit of time on using Bootstrap. And after that, after this introduction to CSS, introduction to how to use Bootstrap and all that, we are going to jump directly to JavaScript, and that is where I would like to spend a lot of time. Okay, so ultimately, as I keep saying in every class, I just want to show you folks, I just want to show the students how to build this. I just want to show what you see on the screen right here. My monitor is here, my computer is here, that's why I keep showing like this. So what you see on my computer screen is what I want to teach you at the end of this training program. Now you learn these basics, start building some things, you'll get that confidence, and then yes, go to www.school.com and learn all the full details about CSS. No problem. Go to the Mozilla MDN website and learn all the details about CSS. No problem. okay? But here we are only going to focus on the basics. We learn just enough CSS and Bootstrap to get this appearance. Okay, that is my plan. So I just want to set that expectation. Even when I work on real life projects, what I normally do is I go ahead, I get a basic look for my clients and they are happy. And if they want something really advanced, no problem. I'll take the client permission and tell them, okay, we will hire one CSS expert for half a day or 1 day, get all the work done, and that's it. Problem solved. So instead of me or the client spending so much time and money on CSS or things like that, if we really want something like a very advanced look or something, we'll get a CSS expert and then we will go ahead and get the job done. And since right now our focus is learning the basics, so it's okay. All right, this what you see on the screen is what I want to teach you. Hello Mr. Krishna, hello sir, welcome. So that is what I'm going to do. Okay, so some of you may not like this approach of mine, in which case I do apologize, but I hope you understand. Ultimately, my goal is to help you learn how to build simple, basic web apps. My goal is not to make you an expert in CSS. My goal is not to make you an expert in HTML, or my goal is not to make you an expert in anything. I just want to give you enough basic skills so you can build something which you can see on the screen. And then after that, once that basic things are learned, you go and learn all the expert things in the world. Okay, so that is my introduction, a bit of gyan, logic, theory about CSS, Bootstrap, my theories about CSS, my opinion about CSS, how much I want to teach you, what I don't want to teach you, and so on and so forth. Okay, you may not agree with me on this. Many people will not agree with me on this logic, but my focus is to get you, like, if you get into a job or something, you should know how to build apps. Okay, if you don't know CSS, you can learn it. But if you don't know how to build an app, then you may not get the job at all. So my target is for people who are trying to apply for jobs, who are trying to become web app developers, build something which you can show to your clients, show to your friends, family, and so on. So that is what we're going to do here. Okay, so let me jump into some basic CSS, and I'm going to show you some basic Bootstrap, and then we'll wrap that up. We'll do a mini project using these concepts like we do every week, and then we'll jump into JavaScript, which is where we're going to spend a lot of time. Okay. All right, so all right, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm gonna be back in 2 minutes. Okay, all right, I am back. So let's go to learn some really basic CSS. As always, I have my CodePen link here. Now, if you want to see this CodePen, if you want to give this a try on your own, as always, all you have to do is go to our website. We have our website here. Yeah, my tutorial. And if you go here, today we are trying to do basic CSS styling. Okay, and you go to the basic CSS, whatever I just gave you the GAN, no, I've typed that here. So, I hope you agree with my logic here. And then here you have a link. Every chapter in my textbook, it has a section called CodePen link. Okay, so every chapter will have a CodePen link. So click on that CodePen link and that will open to you my CodePen. So whatever I'm teaching you, you want to see the code, you want to practice it on your own, the code is right there. You don't have to, there are no spelling mistakes, there are no wrong output. This CodePen is online. Click on that link and you can go. And I've already spoken about CodePen before. Those of you who are just joining me today, CodePen is where you can write your HTML code online. It's easy to use. Okay, so if you want to learn more about CodePen, I think it's in chapter 2 or chapter 3. It's available on YouTube, the recordings. Watch it and learn why we use CodePen and all that. Okay, so what is happening here? So let's look at the output. Okay, let me go ahead and open the output here. And okay, this is our output of CSS, very basic CSS. Okay, let me just put the output on the right side. This is what I do in every class. I put the output on the right side and I put the code on the left side. Yes. Thank you for agreeing with me, Max, Kruti, and Meena. And hi, Bharat. Hi. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. So, okay, there you go, folks. This is what I'm doing. So on the right side is our output. I've done some color and all that. So that is we'll see how to get that output. I put some images. I've explained this before. I like beach, so I use some beach images, but you can use any image you want. It's really up to you. I'm not gonna say you have to use this image only. So so there you go. This is the output on the right side. This is the code on the left side. And this is what we are trying to achieve. So what is happening here? So first thing is, I have a paragraph here, right? So this shows some basic HTML tag usage. Now if I go to that here, where is basic HTML usage? Okay, there you go. So now this is this output on the left side and on the right side. So now what we'll do here is, let's create a new code pen and try to create this output from scratch. Okay, so let me go here. How do you create a new code pen on this one? Let me just go ahead, close this. Okay, so this is our output. This is what we are trying to create. So we're gonna start from scratch because I want to show you live how I get this output. So let me go ahead, go to my dashboard on CodePen. Okay, and you go to my template. I have a template which I use for every class. So I'm gonna go to my template. I have a template called Bari basic template. This just like our textbook, this template is also available in our textbook. If we go here, you'll see here, template for use for CodePen. So if you want to practice with me like right now, while you're watching, if you have say 2 laptops or 2 monitors, on one monitor you can see my class, on another monitor you can practice on your own. So if you are doing it, go to my textbook, tutorials.baribasic.com, and then in this option you have template. This is the template I'm using. So I'm going to go to my template here, same thing, link which is there. I'll open this, and there you go. I have a brand new template. Okay, so this we can use for practicing. All right, so I'll go here. So what I'll do is I'll call this session 9 practice. Now today is session 8. Session 9 practice, it's July 13th. Okay, and then I'm going to save this. So this is a brand new, what I want to do here is, now let's look at this output here. So if I click on this output box, this is what I'm getting. Okay, so what I want is, so this is the output I want to get when this training is completed, when this class is ended, and this is what we are starting right now. Okay, this is the brand new today. This is one which I've already created for my textbook, for those people who want to know what we are planning to build. All right, that is what we are trying to do here. So let's go back to, let's keep the output on the right side. Let's keep this output also on the right side. Both outputs on the right side. Okay, why is this not moving? There we go, perfect. So, and then let's see, 2 outputs on the right side. Now code I want on the left side. So I have my code on the left side. Now this is the code of the original output, this one. And this is the one we are practicing right now. So we'll keep referencing them again and again. Now this is another thing I mentioned in all the classes, folks. If you want to become a developer, it doesn't matter what kind of developer. If you want to become an app developer, you will have to learn how to use many windows. You will have, when I'm working on a project, sometimes I'll have 10, 20 windows open, and I work with 3 monitors. So I have 3 monitors and 5, 10 windows in all the monitors, and that is how app developers work. Okay, if you visit our website, you can see the photo of my office. I have like some 6 computers and everything. Sometimes I'll be working on all of them because some projects are so complex. So from now on, of course, you are trying to learn how to build a basic web app. So which means from now itself, you have to know, you have to keep changing windows. You have to keep changing windows, this window, that window. It's very important. In the beginning, it will be very confusing. But trust me, once you start doing it for 1 week or 2 weeks, you'll get used to it and you'll see, okay, this is how people work. All right. So, and another thing I tell in every class is, if you can copy a code, do it. Especially if it is your own code or if it's open source code or free code. Never type if you can avoid it. So always copy paste. because that is how majority of projects are built. But remember, of course, there are legal issues if you copy someone else's code. So only copy from open source code, free code, or your own code. Like for example, my code is all free and open source. You can use it, you can copy it, you can paste it, you can do whatever you want. Nobody is going to stop you. Okay, such code, please copy and paste, save time, and become a fast developer. Okay, so first thing is what I want to do is I have this here. So I'm gonna first, I want to change the title. Okay, so let me go to hello world and I'll just change that to this is session 8 CSS practice. So once I save it, that will come immediately on the right side. See, this is what I like about CodePen. You know, with CodePen, you write the code, you see the output immediately. So even if you can use Visual Studio Code, I strongly recommend when you're practicing, you use CodePen, because you write the code, you see the output, life is easy. Okay, so this is what I'm practicing. So I have this line here called, this is a quick template called win, so I'm gonna delete it. All right, so now this is done. Okay, so and our title is ready. Okay, now before I begin, what I want to do here is first let's look at our example code. Now what are we trying to do here? Now you'll notice that in the very, I think class number 2 or 3, I told you that a web app is, a web page is a combination of 3 things. First is HTML, second is CSS, you can see on the screen, third is JavaScript. Okay, HTML, CSS, JavaScript combine together and build your web page or web app. Okay, and I have a question here. I can just answer that here. CodePen, but you can use Code Sandbox. Folks, it is okay. You know, I'm not saying you have to use CodePen. You know, it's like a car. There are many brands of car, but all cars are kind of similar, even though they are different. So similarly, I think a question is from XO. So XO, you know what I'm trying to say, my preference is CodePen. You can use Code Sandbox, you can even use W3 Schools, no problem at all. And I think Anil has joined the class here. Thank you, Anil, for following our account. Thank you so much. And XO, yes, you know, if you prefer Code Sandbox, you can do it. My preference is CodePen, so it is okay. Any brand of editor you want to use, you can use it, guys, no problem. So I have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All right, so 3 things together combine, make up your web page. All right, and even used an example like, you know, HTML is like your skeleton, CSS is your appearance, okay, and JavaScript is like your brain. All right, so right now we are talking about appearance. All right, so if you're gonna talk about appearance, then usually we make the changes in the CSS section. Okay, now if you go back to my example code here, I'll notice that I have a simple code where I'm saying P color blue. Okay, now that is your first introduction to a basic CSS. You know how we discussed HTML basic tags, like that I'm now discussing a very basic CSS, I think it's called CSS code. There's no, I think it's called CSS element or something. Okay, so what I want to do here is, now first I want a paragraph or sentence, because this is about styling. We are dealing with paragraphs. Now you have to type some things. Now again, those of you who come to my class every day, you will know that I hate typing. So I need some paragraphs now. So what we'll do, go back to my tutorials again, and you'll see there's a sentence called, while practicing, you will need some ready to use content and images. Find images here, find content here. So again, never type, always copy paste. So I'm going to go to my content here, and the content I'm using is a Sherlock Holmes website. You know, Sherlock Holmes is open source, guys, so it is free of cost, we can use it. So I'm going to go here and I'll pick some chapter. Let me go to this memoirs, and I'm going to go to LFA. So I have a lot of paragraphs. So I want some, say 3 paragraphs. I want to show you guys how CSS makes a difference to your paragraph. Okay, so I want 3 paragraphs. So what are we going to do here? I'm going to go here into my example code. I'll take a paragraph. Okay, I'm going to take a paragraph and I'll put it in my practice code. Okay, so let me put it in my practice code, and I will say this is paragraph 1. Okay, I want 3 paragraphs, so copy, paste, save. So I have 3 paragraphs now. Now I can start using or applying CSS to this small paragraph, but it doesn't look cool or good. So what we'll do here is we will go to our Sherlock Holmes website and we'll copy some paragraphs. Okay, so 1 paragraph copied. Let's copy another paragraph. And let's copy the 3rd paragraph. 1 more paragraph. Anything, you don't have to use Sherlock Holmes website. You can use any website you want. But I use Sherlock Holmes because it is free. It has so much of content. I can just use it without any problems. So I have 3 paragraphs now. You can see it on the screen. And I agree. Excel, Lorem Ipsum is also a great tool. Definitely. Like I said, I have my preferences. To each his own is my motto. So I have 3 paragraphs, and I also like to put some horizontal lines in between. So let me go ahead and do that. As always, I hate copying, so I'm going to copy a HR line here, 1, and then 2. Okay, so I think I got, yeah, there you go. So I got some nice separators here. Okay, and I got some nice paragraphs. All right. So now I want to make each of these paragraphs a different color. Now that is the most simplest CSS you can do, changing the color of a paragraph. Okay, now when you are modifying CSS, there are many ways of doing it. As I said, CSS has a long history. It has a lot of ways of achieving the same thing. For example, I talked about how to make an image stay in the center. Now to make an image stay in the center, there are a lot of ways. Okay, so there's no one correct way to do this, because a lot of ways, there are different ways to achieve something. And in fact, one of the great things and also complicated things about CSS is a code which works in, say, Firefox may not work on Chrome, and sometimes what works on Chrome may not work on, say, Edge browser. So it does have that variation. Okay, so we're going to look at one simple way of changing the color of this paragraph. Okay, there are many ways, but I'm going to show what I like to use. Okay, so if you look back here, let me go to my CSS sample code. Now I have this. This is one way of applying CSS, not the only way, but one way. So I'm going to come here. Now I told you in CodePen, like HTML page, there are 3 sections: HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So we're going to go to the CSS section. There's already some code here. I'll talk about this maybe in the future. Okay, this is my template. One day I'm going to sit and explain how I built my template, but not right now. So now what I'll do is I'll go here and apply the CSS. Now the moment I apply the CSS, immediately on the output, the color is going to become blue. Okay, that is CSS magic. Remember, CSS is about appearance, HTML is about skeleton, and JavaScript is the brain. Okay, so I'm going to put the CSS code, and immediately the color is going to change here. Watch it. Okay, I've saved it, and it's not changing. Why is that? What did I make a mistake? Let me see. Something is not right, folks. It says I have put the code and I know its color is blue. Why is it not changing? Something is not right. Wait a second. Did I change something? Did I miss something? I have the paragraph tag. It's all set. And I've set the color as blue. That is also set. I've set the footer as blue. That is also set. This is very interesting. I don't know why the color is not changing. This is very bizarre. So if I go here, I made it red. Yeah, it's changing red. If I make this brown, yeah, it's changing brown. If I make this purple, yeah, it's going purple. But for some reason, our practice code is refusing to change. I don't know why. Alright, this is very unusual. Why would it not change? This is crazy. This is Very, very unusual and very, very embarrassing. Okay, let's see why is this one not okay, let's see, body class, main class, container. Okay, all right, why is this not, why are you not reacting, my friend? Okay, this is very, very unusual. Is there a bug on CodePen or something? I am not sure. P container, maybe I should put this paragraph outside. Let me just see, folks. Let me just see. Okay, I added one more paragraph. Let's see. Right. I don't know what happened there. Okay, there we go. The output is changing. So let me remove that. Okay, the color is changing. The current is changing. Right. Yeah, so this is another thing which I've noticed with CodePen. It doesn't work as expected. I've noticed this issue a lot of times. Normally what I do is when this happens, I usually go ahead and do a bug report to CodePen. But right now I'm in a class, so I'm not going to do that. So there you go, folks. So this is what I was talking about. Sometimes the CodePen will not react. If that happens, don't worry. Normally you have to kind of reload your browser. So CodePen is not perfect. Even though I have the paid CodePen account, you know, I mean, I think it's the same CodePen for everybody, whether you're using a free account or the pro account. So looked like there was some CodePen bug. So there you go, folks. So now what I did here was, now that we have gone over that confusion, let me go to my CSS again. Okay, so same code. The code was fine. What was not fine was some issue with CodePen. Okay, so all right. So what I'm doing here is I'm applying the most simplest possible CSS code. Okay, now let's understand this code here. Let me take this code, put it on my PowerPoint, and let me put that code. Yeah, there you go. So this is the simplest possible CSS code. Now, what is happening here is now I am selecting. Now CSS works with what is called as selectors. Okay, so let me see. So selectors. Now CSS works by a simple concept of selectors. So it has to select HTML elements. Okay, or DOM elements. We can call them DOM elements, or we can call them HTML elements. Okay, so we have to pick the DOM element to which we are trying to apply the styling. Okay, now a very, very everyday example will be, you know, like I have I have this mouse. Okay, so I also have, I have my phone. All right, so let's say I have a paint. Okay, I want to paint my iPhone here, you know, the background, I want to paint it, say, blue. Okay, and I want to paint this the mouse of my Mac here also red. Okay, I want to make this red, I want to make this blue. So if both of them are in front of me, okay, I'm keeping it in front of me here, and I will say, okay, the iPhone, let's paint that blue. So I'm gonna pick up the iPhone and then paint it blue. Now how? Because I know the name of this phone is the iPhone. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna select this, and I'm going to select it and then apply the paint CSS. And then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna pick up the mouse. It's called the mouse. So selecting using the name, and then I'll paint this red. Okay, so using their names, I was able to select and apply the color that I wanted. Now CSS works like that all the time. You have to specify what element you want to apply a given styling. That is the key here. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do here is, in my example code or in my practice code, I want all the paragraphs. Okay, we have our output here. I wanted all the paragraphs to have blue color. So the selector, remember, you know, like I want to paint my iPhone blue, I'll pick up the iPhone. So the name of the phone is the selector. Whereas in my code, the selector is the name of the HTML tag. So here the name of the HTML tag is P. and I want to make all the p tags blue. Okay, that is what I'm trying to do. So I have that on the screen. Now if I go to my CSS and change the color to red and save it, on the right side, there you go. Okay, so the p tag is red, so it became red as per the rules. So now let's do one thing. Now in my example, I told you I have two things. I have the iPhone and I have the Mac mouse, and I want to be able to pick them. So I want two things so that I know it works differently. So what I'll do here is I will go to my HTML and let me get some h3 tags. Okay, so I want some h3 tags. Okay, so I'm gonna put a line here, and now I want some h3 tags. So I will say h3. Okay, I have some h3 tag. I want 3 h3 tags again. I don't know why 3, I'm just picking it. Okay, I want some content, so I'm gonna go to my Sherlock Holmes novel. I'm gonna copy paste some paragraphs. So one paragraph, paste it. Second paragraph, paste it. All right, you know what, I think I'm gonna use 2 paragraphs. I think 2 paragraphs is enough, so we're gonna delete this. We don't want, I think 2 is enough. I think 3 is too much. Let's make it 2 paragraphs, right? It'll be easy to fit on one screen. And I want to put a horizontal line, so between the paragraphs. I like to do that, no reason, just to make it look a little bit better on the screen. Okay, so now we have 2 different types of HTML elements, and it's like my example, the Mac mouse and the iPhone. Okay, 2 things, and I want to give them a different color, right? So in my code now, I have 2 types of HTML elements. I have the paragraph element, which is P. I have the h3 elements, which is h3. So now what I'll do is I'll go to my CSS, okay, and I'll copy this. As I keep telling you folks again and again, if you can copy something, please copy it. That is my motto. Copy and do your code fast. Okay, so now h3 is also red. There you go. So I put h3 also the same CSS of the p tag, which I just copy pasted, and you can see on the screen both are now red. So what I've done is like I'm taking my phone and the mouse and I'm saying, okay guys, phone is also red paint, mouse is also red paint. Both are red paints and they're both selected, which is the keyword in CSS, selector. Okay, make them red. All right, now I want them to have different colors. So let me make my h3 green. Why green? No reason. Just wait. There we go. So what did I do? I went to the CSS, and I have the CSS code for h3. They had a section called color, and I made it green. That is all. A very simple, basic application of CSS. So what I'm doing here is I'm using CSS to apply styles to the elements that I want using selectors. Okay, that's a very basic usage. Now those of you who have already done some web programming, you may feel like, okay, this is very basic, but that's the point. If you already know this stuff, then this class is not for you. This class is mainly for folks who are absolute beginners. Okay, so if you are very, very new to CSS, this step, you learn this very, very nicely, and it's going to help you so much in the future. All right, so let me see what else I've used in my example code. Let me go back to my example code here. Let me open my example output here. So what I've done, I've used the CSS here, I've used the basic tag here, I've used the, okay, so let me check out my HTML here, here, here. Now let's see, have used lines. I put an image here. Now okay, now this is something where I think it's about how to use Bootstrap. Now we'll talk about that later. We'll have a separate session. And now you'll see here the image here, it's like exactly in the center. We'll talk about that later. Again, here also the image is exactly in the center. We'll talk about that later, but right now I'm just focusing on CSS. Okay, so let's see anything specific. No, this is all I want to teach in this very basic CSS, how to apply a CSS to a specific HTML element in CodePen. Now what I want to do here is, when we build our mini projects, now last week we built a mini project based on what we learned in terms of basics of HTML and link navigation and all that. Okay, so how do you apply the CSS in Visual Studio Code? Now that is also something you must know. Okay, so for that, what we'll do here is we'll take this project and open it in our Visual Studio Code. Now the thing is, see, if you're practicing on CodePen, once you're done your work in CodePen, it is always very important that you go ahead and open that project in Visual Studio Code so you can do even more changes. So how to do that? It's very simple. This works on your CodePen account as well. Now this is our project. This is our session 8 practice project. Where's the output here? Okay, this is what I want to this is the project. I want to run it locally. I want to take this code and make it run locally. Okay, so I'll go here. You have a button called export. I don't know if you can see on the screen. It's a very small button called export. Click on export and you get an option called export as .zip. Okay, now you can see here it's a free option. I'm a pro account. I have a pro account. I got an option called .zip with build process. Now that is mainly to do with building and executing and deploying and all that. We're not talking about that today. Maybe some other day we'll talk about it. So just go ahead and click on export and export the zip file. And once it is done, it is ready to download it. And once it's downloaded, you please save it. And once it is saved, you please open it. And this is our project. This is our CodePen. This is our folder. You'll usually get 4 files, folders. You have a folder called dist, which is for distribution. You have a folder called src, which is source. You have a file called license. You have a file called readme.markdown. Now markdown is something we'll talk when we discuss GitHub. We will be talking about how to use GitHub, how to use markdown files in the future when you start building our project. But right now, just know the general structure. Now here I have a folder called source. Now this contains our code. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this off. So let me do one thing here. I'm going to copy the source folder. Okay, and I'm going to my code repository. I have a code repository here, and here I have a very basic, and I have class practice, and let's see, and it's okay. I'm going to just put it here. So this is our basic CSS. I'll just give it a name, basic CSS. In fact, I'm going to take the name from here. Remember, I don't want to type. I want a copy paste policy. So I'll take this. So now let's open this in Visual Studio Code. How do you open it? It's like this. You open Visual Studio Code, and then you go to, this is our previous project. Let's close that and open folder. And go to where you kept the code, which is in code repos, very basic, class practice, not class practice. Yeah, this one. Open. And that is our project. See, this is the code we wrote. You see this paragraph. Let me make this toggle. This is the paragraph, session 8 CSS practice. This is what we had online in CodePen. And then this is the H1, H2 tags we used to get the output. So let's go ahead and run this locally on our computer. So you have to open a terminal. Please note, if you don't have Node.js and all, don't worry, it's okay. If you have it, then only you can practice this step. Okay, and open, and then /index.html. Okay, and let's see. For some reason here we are not getting the colors. Why are we not getting the colors? One second. I do have the option here, and it is included. Style sheet. It's because style sheet is not included. Okay, all right. So this is, I think this is really what I want to show you folks. Now you'll see that on CodePen, this is our practice output. We are getting the red and the green color. Okay. Now when you're practicing locally, like if you're writing and practicing this code on Visual Studio Code, now please understand, when you really start building your projects, I strongly recommend you build it on Visual Studio Code or an editor similar to Visual Studio Code. Don't try to build your project on CodePen. It is possible, but this is better for project development. For learning, CodePen is the best. Okay, so here what I need to do is I need to connect this HTML file with this CSS file. All right, so that is what I need to do here. So if I go here, you'll notice that the output, this is my output when I'm running this locally. This is the code which is running locally. Now this is my code from online. You'll see the difference. On the right side, the CSS is correct. On the left side, the CSS is correct, but the CSS is not applying. So this is what you might call debugging. You know, debugging is when some code you're writing is good. Now because here on the right side is our output, it is working, so we know that our code is correct. And on the left side, same code, we are trying to run it locally using Visual Studio Code, and it is not giving the output. So something is gone missing, something is wrong. This is called debugging. So let's try to fix this. You know, I'm not very good in CSS, I'm not good at CSS, but this is supposed to be basic. So let me try to fix it. If I can't fix it, it's okay. I'll fix it tonight, and then tomorrow I'll show you how I fixed it. But let me try to fix it. Okay, I think it's a simple style sheet has not been linked. All right, now you know how in the previous class we used images. We talked about how if the path is not correct, if the spelling is not correct, the image was not loading. Something similar might be happening here. So we'll see that now. We'll see that. Okay. So I'll go to my Visual Studio Code. Okay. Now I have my style sheet. So the sheet is there. The code is also there. See, red color, green color. The code is also there. No problem. So if I go to my index.html, normally the linking of CSS happens in the head. We talked about this in the early classes, I think class 2 or class 3, when we talked about the basic structure of HTML. We talked about what goes into head and what goes into body. Now, right now we are talking about CSS, which is called style sheet, right? CSS files are called style sheet because we are applying style, and the rules of the style are in this sheet. So at the name, style sheet. So this is a style sheet which is for Bootstrap, which is my best friend, which is your best friend. But before we talk about Bootstrap, we have to learn a little bit of basic CSS, which is what we are doing right now. So I'm going to try to, remember my copy paste rule, never write any code. So let me copy this. Okay, I'm going to copy paste this. And it's a lot of extra things, so I'm going to just kind of delete this for now. Okay, and there's something called integrity and all that. Guys, this is all integrity stuff. Don't worry about it. One day you'll have to worry about it when you're building, company apps, like client apps and all. But right now, don't worry about this SHA and, encryption and all that. Don't worry about it right now. Just ignore it. Only for today. You have to worry about it later. Okay. So now what I have to do here is now, just like how in this code, we are linking Bootstrap style sheet, we need to link our own style sheet in the code. Now, once we do the linking, this output will become just like our actual output. So that is debugging, and the debugging is fixed. So let's go back to our code, and here I have the name of our style sheet. That is just like how in images, name is important. So what is the name of our file here? The name of the file is style.css. That's it. Just like how we work with image files, image names and all that. So here I will say style, style.css. So now what we have done is, already in this file, this Bootstrap style sheet was linked. And this is a code which is already there, which means the code is correct. So what I did was, instead of typing my code new, I copy pasted it, trying to be a little smart and trying to save some time and headache. And I know my style sheet name is style.css. So I put that name here. So whatever rules, the rule is right now our focus is making the paragraphs red and making the h3 green. That is our main priority. So these rules are in this file called style.css, and I am saying in this line for this HTML file, we are saying, you know, like whenever you're writing code, you're always talking to the browser. So you're telling to the browser, hey Mr. Browser, I have put some rules in my style sheet. Please apply those rules. And the browser is asking you, where is that file? And you are telling that file is here. This is the name of the file. So now what happens when you load your web page or web app? The browser will load this file, and whatever rules are in that file, it will get applied. So I believe this code is correct. As I mentioned many times, I'm not exactly a super duper expert or anything in CSS. Okay, so I think this is correct. Logically it's correct. So I'm going to save this. I'll open my output. I'll keep my original. This is what our actual output is on the right side. Okay, this is the output which is correct. So we know it works. So now on the left side, I have done some debugging. I have connected, I have linked the style sheet. So I'll reload the page. Yes, there you go. So that was the issue. Okay, our code was perfect. Everything was fine. We know it is fine because we did it online first. Okay, but then still the output was not coming. Why? Because the style sheet was not linked. And you also know now how to use style sheet if you're using locally. Let me show you one more thing. Okay, now what I'll do here is I will go to the style sheet, okay, and I will create one more file. Let me call this style2.css. So I want to create a second style sheet. You can have any number of style sheets. And what I'll do here is I will take this h3 out and I'll put it in style2. And it's saved. It's all saved automatically in Visual Studio Code. Now if I go to my output, there. Now as expected, the h3 color disappeared. Why? Because we have moved the h3 color from style to style2. Okay, so it's a separate style sheet. Now if I want this style to be applied, then I have to link this style sheet also to my main index.html. Now those of you who already know about this, you'll feel that this is very boring because I'm talking the same thing again and again. But in the last 8 years, what I've noticed is there are a lot of people out there, a lot of beginners who are doing HTML for the first time, and the basic steps like linking, they get confused, they get lost. Okay, so my emphasis is on that basic. So now what I do is I want to get this green color working. See, right now the green color is not working. So how do I make it work? I need to link the style sheet to index.html. So I'll go to index.html. As always, my policy is to copy paste, never write or type. And I want to link the style2 also. Now what I've done is style2 has my color, h3 should be green, and that is linked in index.html. I'll save this and I'll go to my output and I'll reload, and there you go. Boom, we got the output because we were able to successfully link the CSS file. So that is what I mainly wanted to talk today, folks. We are coming in on the 1 hour mark of the class. I don't like to make the class more than 1 hour. So today what you learned was you learned how to use very simple styling on HTML elements. First you learned it using CodePen. You know, CodePen is here. This is the CodePen output on the right side. This is the CodePen code on the left side. You're able to learn how to do that on CodePen. We put some paragraph, we put some, you know, header 3 sections in our code, and we got the output. Now after we learned how to do this in CodePen, I was able to show you the same output on Visual Studio Code. We did go into a bug wherein our code was perfect but the output was not coming. We found out that the issue was linking. So I showed you how to link your HTML file with your CSS file, and finally locally also, just like the online output is on the right side, local output is on the left side. So both of them are working fine, and you just learned how to use the very basic of CSS. Now, as I told you before in the beginning, I don't like to go deep into CSS. I don't like it at all. Okay, I just want to know the basics. Mainly, for example, I have the web app which I built. This is what you'll be building. If you are still here with me when I build this web app, this is what I want to show you how to build. To learn how to build this basic app, you don't need to go too deep into CSS. Okay, we'll use basics of CSS, we'll use basic of Bootstrap and build this web app at the end of this course. And that is all I'm going to teach you. Anything more, you are on your own. Okay, so that is all the class today. I don't think there are any questions here. Thank you so much for everybody who joined, especially people who were chatting like Esko, Navya, and then Kriti, and then Meena, and then Kriti again, Exo again, and Bharat, and then Max Brown, and then Chetigula Krishna, and Bharat again. So, and of course, I think even my friend Adarsh was here as well. So all of you who came to the class, thank you so much for joining. Next class is going to be again tomorrow. Timings as always. I'm gonna put it on the screen here. 1 second. Let me just put that on the screen. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and type it in. I'll keep this class online for some time. Otherwise, so class timings are there. So thank you so much, everyone.